Welcome to Maritime Moment, your marine news entertainment video podcast program. I'm your co-host, Lisa Overing, live at the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show with my co-host, Phil, Captain from Royal Marine Advisors, and we have Phil Purcell, the Executive Director of the Marine Industries Association of South Florida.
You can correct it. we changed our bylaws a few years ago. No more executive directors.
We have the Grand Poobah,
the main man of the
Association of South Florida here. What is your title?
It's actually CEO. We changed it deliberately. To have more business. It seems like a lot of nonprofits are always executive directors, and I think CEO is more of a business, and this is a business.
And that is, well, somewhat of a gaffe. That is an appropriate way to start our segment because we're here to talk about the business of boating in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, all of Florida, the United States, and the world, because we are at the world's largest boat show by every conceivable measure. The number of boats, the type of boats, the length of the boats, the number of exhibitors, the number of working press,
100%.
all of the equipment subcontractors who are here in OEMs. This is Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, or FLIBS. It is the biggest boat show. It has never stopped. We had a small year in 2020, but it was a local show where business was made. Art and I were on board full-blooded. I mean, you still that was trading with another boat.
It was HMI boat. So,
we had about a dozen contracts or more with Viking as well as Intrepid. And the boat show this year, it is packed, it is full, it is a sign of a good economy. And as we talked about the business of boating, Phil and I are two of about 148,000 people in South Florida who are employed in the marine industry. The impact of this boat show is bigger than the economic impact of any Super Bowl that the state of Florida has had in Jacksonville, Miami, or Tampa. And it is a regular show that comes to Fort Lauderdale every year, putting people in hotels, restaurants being busy, and everybody to enjoy our beautiful weather and our beautiful boats. Tell us a little bit more about the business of boating and what this show means to Fort Lauderdale.
Sure, Diamond. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Art, for hosting. This is nice. Great
We're
space.
making sound waves. Help yourself.
So the, when you think of the show, it's in its 62nd year. And so it started off by the association as a little group of people getting together, figuring out a way to, there was seasonality back then and all those things. And now we have, as you know, in Broward County, $9.7 billion business with 140,000 plus workers in it. And so when you look at the show like this, too, it does $1.3 billion economic impact to the state. Over the next 5 days, over 700 million most likely will change hands. So 140 million a day will change hands here, which is an incredible number at the end of the day. When you think of companies like a Marine Max and companies like that, publicly traded companies, they'll do last year at the show, they did over 200 some million at a very reduced show because they activated through all those things. Historically, they do somewhere in that 150 to 160 space, millions. And they'll do that probably this year, too. So it's a big driver, as you said, the economics of it, the political side. It's, the hotels are full. The FXE, the FBOs at both airports are full. They go up 35, 40%, the Uber drivers. So when you get all that type of economic impact, the good news is the politicals, that what they on the state or local level, really enjoy this show because they see what it is. We found out during, the pandemic, boating industry went up 35%, right? Crazy. Who would have thought? Most people were going to, sell the dog, sell the cat, move in the station wagon. They were thinking more 08, right? It wasn't 08. It actually was a boom to our industry that we all know is a good thing that the rest of the population found out.
For sure. And it's funny when you mentioned the economic impact. I was actually taking the water taxis up and down from the boat show, and the little tour guy was saying that it's a bigger economic impact than the actual Super Bowl being hosted by a city. And I thought that was pretty outstanding because as we, in the industry, we call it the Super Bowl of boating, right? So it's funny to see that we've raised more money than that.
There's no bigger B2B or B2C show in the world, period, for the marine industry. So it's the biggest in the world, without question. When it comes to a Super Bowl shows up for a week, which is wonderful. Cities pay millions of dollars to attract it, 10 million, 20 million, whatever it may be. and they leave no residual effect whatsoever. So after the 5 days here, that leaves $1 billion plus economic impact to the state, $700+ million in sales. Then the 360 days of the yards and the $9.7 billion industry here in Broward, which, if you think of the NFL, it's a $9 billion industry.
Right.
Broward County, regionally, $12.5 billion for the region for our industry. $12.5 billion. No, 9.7 in Broward, 12.5 between Palm Beach and Miami.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it shows you how important Broward is.
For sure.
Well, that's how the Marine Industries Association of South Florida and this boat show started, was on the Marina Mile with
100%.
Shipyards, Rolling Marine is an anchor member of the Marine Industries Association of South Florida. And, I guess the role of the marine industries has evolved as the industry has, and the advocacy, I don't want to call it legislation, but trying not to be regulated out of having our show last year.
Sure.
You're why we have it.
Right, yeah, you did a lot of
It was a team. It was informal. It was us, and it was the electeds. We earned the trust of the electeds because we don't call them just when we have a problem. We help them. We build houses for Habitat for Humanity. We do many things, infrastructure things, like there's a bridge over there, waterway cleanup, plywood regatta. But, just like the infrastructure needed in the town. So we do the dredges with fine, took the intercoastal to 17 feet, took Dania cut to, I think, 16 feet, getting ready to do the new river. But it's also the bridge over the new river, things like that, the infrastructure. So you think of the advocacy thing. We have a federal lobbyist, Admiral Duncan Smith, Taya Reeves on the state level, with Smith Bryan and Matt Sockle here with Rudin Turnbull at the local level. And so by using those pieces, and those having great relationships laterally, we can effectively and thoughtfully get things done, like a bridge or a tunnel over the new river, but we have to have one or the other. We can have not a no-build option because we finally have done everyone at the table. But it's the size and scope of the industry that, you look out the window here, you see Tillman Fertitta's boat, you see David McNeil's boat, to who's who of everyone, right?
Right.
They come here, Elon Musk, they all come to these shows.
Now, you say your own boat, you come to us from Westport Yachts. With the Super Yacht, Super Yacht Northwest. What has it been like for you coming to South Florida?
So, I was a partner in Westport Shipyard. I've always had a house in Florida. I traveled back and forth to the Northwest. That's where our manufacturing facilities were in Port Angeles, Hokley, and in Westport proper. So in terms of South Florida, I've been down here since '84, basically. As far as coming back and forth, that gave me a great global experience. The company and the leadership, when Orrin Edson invested in it and brought everybody on board, he was an amazing individual and a great mentor. That's the guy who started Bayliner, sold it to Brunswick for $425 million, and then took the process and procedures and aircraft standards and applied into Westport, and the rest is history, with the great boat build and the great brand. But as far as the differences, I think the biggest differences for me is when I exit that, when we put the company for sale and I exited, I think the big thing was understanding the political side of this here in terms of some of the things that we needed to do. While I just have my hand on the wheel of the association for the period that I'm here, it's done some great things from sales tax issues, sales tax cap, sales tax refit, and it always crewing issues. Just get people into the show from outside the borders issue. From Europe was difficult, and some couldn't make it at the end of the day. But again, the good news was everyone wanted to come and be here.
That's good. And matter of fact, speaking of, I just met Vincent Panetti, and he's from Canada, and he was saying to tell you hello. Yeah. And again, he's awesome, and I'm sure he's watching. And he was saying how he had the issue with the visa and immunizations and him not being able to get the results in time. So still, even though Canada is our closest neighbor, it was still, even in late 2021, it's an issue just to get here. But to your point, everyone has to be here, right? This is the show that you're going to go to if you're going to show up at all.
Freddie behind us here, they had a couple of holes there a few days ago. So people thought, they didn't show up at the boats. No, they were supply chain issues. They were stuck on a ship. Wow. Up until, the opening day of the show. So 4 of them unloaded and another 4. As you look down, it was so cool, right? Right. And that's the importance that, that group that builds in Italy knew that they needed to be here.
Right.
And they worked their tail off and got here.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think that's what it takes. Just as you mentioned, the supply chain issue. We work with a lot of the builders, and they're all in the same boat. No pun intended, but still, they're finding a way to make their customers happy, right? And this boat show serves as a great platform just to get these people here, get them on the boat, get that feeling up underneath them that they can feel like, okay, here's what my boat's going to look like and feel like when we do take delivery in 2022, 2023, whenever that ball finally does drop. But people are still putting the deposits down, and more so just getting out of the house to come and actually being able to kind of get back to Lauderdale and enjoy what we know.
And this is a live event with how many locations this year?
6 locations.
6 locations. So we are on the South Beach Lady, which is the headquarters for Marine Industries Association, South Florida. And if we were to go south toward Port Everglades and Aventura, toward the south end of the show, we would see trawlers, we would see sportfish vessels, and then we would have our azimuths and our big brokerage vessels. The big line up there going into Denison, where are our sailboats, super yachts this year.
We've got a couple over there, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny because people are like, oh, the bigger boats are here. And I'm like, yes, these are really big boats. But they're like, have you been over to the super yacht village? And they're like, no, not yet. But I'm like, take the free shuttle. It's right out front. You won't want to miss that, right? So
it's a great place, yeah. It's a great place. We did opening night party there with Bermuda. We did our CVB, our local CVB, which is Visit Lauderdale. They partnered with Modern Lux and did a wonderful opening night event with Bermuda, go where the yachts are.
Right.
And so all those things are what we love to see. See the community get involved, see our local agencies get involved, and help promote. And they're doing that. They're doing vignettes on our industry when the boat show's not going on, showcasing of go where the yachts go.
Right. I think that's great. And even over at the convention center, which, from what I understood, just reopened, right? Still had a big construction. So it's good to see those vendors even packing people in there.
So again, the county, that's their convention center, and they made us a promise they'd be there, and I can report obviously that it would be finished. They did.
Nice.
And it's one of those things where we've been the longest user of convention center space the boat show has, and the largest user of convention center space. So it's a big part of our plan, that redone convention center and the other amendments to make it. And so I congratulate the county and stuff and the staff getting it done. And again, everybody's back in.
That's good. That's great. And we work with the manufacturers, and they're happy to be here. Right?
Yeah.
So they're happy to claim their spots for future years to come. So
now, as we look at bringing marine means entertainment for Maritime Moment, we have the boat show bringing the marine industry to the world for which major network this year?
NBC Sports Network, 4th year.
When is that going to air?
It'll air Sunday at 10 p.m. and then it'll stream beyond that for long to come. They just did the Best of Show, which was amazing. NBC, so Townsend Bell was a IndyCar driver and a host of a lot of different shows, along with Lee Diffie. He was the voice of the Olympics for, this year, NASCAR, a bunch of different things. They come down, they produce the event with about 25 people with their team of short shoot, and it's an amazing thing to watch. You guys know.
Yeah.
Do, but for us, we're watching how they make the sausage, in the back room. And it was cool. So our 4th year, it gets better every year. They've got great ideas. They were here last year. It was the only live event that they actually filmed last year. I think.
Oh, wow.
With people there, yeah. So it's been a great relationship.
That's awesome. Now, who won the Best of Show so far?
So I'm proud to say Ocean Alexander did with their 35 meter. Beautiful boat. It was tough competition. Asmit, Benetti, and some others. The judges were wonderful. So, we have Ricky Carmichael as a judge, as a good one in the motocross space.
Yeah.
Captain Bourdain from the U.S. Coast Guard, who will be Admiral Select Bourdain very soon.
Wow.
Which is amazing once they confirm her. We had, now I'm going to draw a metal blank, Dirty, what is the fishing show? Dirty Tuna?
Wicked Tuna.
Wicked Tuna. Yeah, he was here.
That's a big powerhouse of groups here, and congratulations to Ocean Alexander.
For sure.
How many boats do we have that they could choose from?
So what we do is it's the 18 boats that are premieres.
Okay.
And so it was 18 premiered, and then they vet it through that and chose a winner. The judges do.
And I'm glad I didn't know that, but I'm glad that you at least give them a little bit of a more refined selection, because even walking the docks, right? 1 hour in, 2 hours in, we've been here almost 3 days now, and it can be a lot to the average person. So even a judge, SmackDown, celebrity judges, and notable people, it can be a lot to take in. So even from a judging standpoint, it's cool that you at least kind of hold them in on that.
We're going to cut away when we have the actual filming. This is our live stream on Instagram. We're going to cut away to your favorite boat at the show. We're going to find it. Do you have a favorite? So,
Can't be politically correct here.
you that stand out besides the LA.
You know, I'm a fan of the center consoles that everyone's producing, like Intrepids and things like that. So I love the brand. It's a great, proven brand.
Ken
Towed
Clinton,
behind a lot,
man.
which MarineMax just acquired.
badass boat.
Yeah, great boat.
Right.
So a big fan of that. Fan of the Boston Whaler product. My kids, I grew up, playing with boats like that. My kids have grown up playing up like that. Safe. Send the kids out, and you know they're going to come home.
Yep.
So that's good. Bigger stuff. I love trawlers. I really do. I like to go small. I love electric. The new concept of electric that boats are coming out with. Q yachts out of Europe. Those things. The outboards that are made for that electric. I think that's cool. Those will go a certain range. With the bigger stuff, obviously the U.S. market. I'm fond of the builders that build here. Delta, Westport, Berger, things like that.
Right.
There's, the Europeans have done a really good job grabbing more market share in this area. So hats off to Benetti and obviously you look at Fedship and Lurchen and Ocean Go and companies like that who has what great brands. But I don't really have a favorite. I'll be honest with you. My boat that I have is a wood boat that was built in the Outer Banks. Yeah, by a guy named Axl Rose. Not Axl Rose, Alan Rose. Axl is the singer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Guns N' Roses, no, Alan Rose. And so Alan Rose, and it's nothing fancy, but it's a cool boat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the classics either. If it's a wooden boat, for sure.
Axl Rose would be a metal boat.
He would be good.
Right?
Listen,
Heavy metal.
Yeah.
I'll listen to Axl Rose on the wood boat, on the Alan Rose. Yeah.
That'll be awesome. So I'd say let's get into some rapid fire. So what do you think?
I think we're ready for some rapid fire.
Give it a whirl.
We're
Give it a whirl.
We're a little toasty now after a couple of days, so I don't know how rapid the fire will be.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to ask you a few questions personally,
Okay.
and there's no right or wrong answer.
I'm good. I'll take the fifth if I don't know. I'll do the Ollie North. I don't recall.
What was your first boat?
A little John boat. A little Ted Williams John boat that's Sears made.
Nice.
Okay.
So when you're docking, are you a throttle man or would you prefer a joystick?
So I like the joystick, but I'm a purist when it comes to that. Because God forbid there's a failure, you got to know how to work the throttle.
Gotcha.
Florida or Washington?
Well, I love Florida, so I love the environment. I love the tax structure. I love our leadership, all those things.
Well, I would say, do you fish at all?
I do.
So what's your favorite fish?
What I like to eat is one thing. So I love to eat tuna or salmon.
Okay.
What I fish for is actually more freshwater. So I spend a lot of time in little ponds and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm guaranteed to catch something because it's like they can't go anywhere. Right? It's like fishing in an aquarium.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who is the unsung hero of this boat show?
Andrew Gould and his whole team at Informa, without question.
Okay.
Andrew's been a veteran of the industry for 30 plus years. Informa gave him a new set of toolboxes. Every promoter has been wonderful. Informa's brought more sets of tools for him to work with, and he's built a great team around him that, Rod Correa and people like that to do the logistical side that are amazing. That's fine.
With what you've started with Salty Jobs, this is your own show that you have. Tell everybody about that real quick.
Sure.
That's important.
We went to Emerge, that tech conference down in Miami, and there a gentleman was speaking, the CEO of AT&T, and he held up his phone and goes, my business is up 150,000%. So I'm going, I'm not that smart. That's a lot of phones. You were talking Mint earlier. And what it was video. So we realized that the kids today, everything's on video, right? So we thought, how are we going to get to the kids? They don't carry paper, they don't do this, but they're always on the phone. So we created a video series, hired a professional firm, Media Lab, to produce it. And we've now had won 2 awards. I don't remember the name of the awards, but we won 2 of them. Tully, thank you very much. And our hostess, continue to change, and male, female, this. And right now we have Megan, who's our team member here also. And I think it's really well done. It's shown in the schools, it shows career paths, but the kids can go home and say, Mom, Dad, I want to be this. I want to get in here. I want to do this. First of all, thanks for you guys to get the message out like this and stuff. That means a lot. I think the biggest thing is, look, we've been blessed with this 35% uptick, and so it's ours to lose. The good news is, what I'm hearing at the show is it's new buyers and coming to the show buying things. So that's great news. Now it's our job to make sure they have a good experience in the industry and retain it. Because if we do that, it's nothing but upside. We're the number 1 state for boating, number 1 state for U.S. Documentation and foreign flag boats visiting. So
We are. Florida is just the
number one.
state.
No way around it.
Period.
That's true. That's true.
Period. And we are leading in now from the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show with the CEO of the marine industry.
There you go. There you go.
Phil Purcell. I'm here with my co-host Art Hill of Road Marine Advisors. We have Victoria Breeding, our new photographer behind the camera. Pierre Perrier and Julie Raines are on assignment. Goofing off, I think. I leave you here from Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. Thanks for tuning in to Maritime Moment and making sound waves with us.
We'll see you on the water.